Hi everyone, my name is Neerab Kumar. Welcome to my video, a super simple way to learn DevOps Part 2. I'm a cloud architect and Microsoft certified trained. I hope you have already watched my previous video, a super simple way to learn DevOps Part 1. If not, please watch it first. I have given the link in the description. This is a continuation of Part 1. If you want to learn Azure DevOps, you need to learn Azure Repos, Azure Build Pipeline, and Azure Release Pipeline. Some of the major topics which we are going to cover in this video is Azure DevOps, Azure DevOps Repos, Azure DevOps Pipeline, which will include Build Pipeline and Release Pipeline. Once we cover those in theoretical way, we will have a practical demo of the pipeline and how to create it. And of course, we will summarize everything and we'll see once we learn all the basic what will be the next step for us. Once you complete this video, you will be able to create a basic CI/CD pipeline and deploy code to the Azure cloud. As a prerequisite, you should be aware of the basic of Azure and you should have an Azure subscription so that you can practice it. If you remember, we have discussed about these different tools used for in the DevOps in my previous video. And we had selected one of the tools out of these 100 tools, that is Azure DevOps, to create a CI/CD pipeline in the beginning. What is Azure DevOps? Azure DevOps is a software as a service platform from Microsoft that provides an end-to-end DevOps tool chain for developing and deploying software. Azure DevOps is a tool to build and deploy your application to your server. And this is what we want to do, right? Azure DevOps include the following services: Azure Board, Azure Repos, Azure Pipelines, Azure Artifacts, and Azure Test Plan. In this video, we will concentrate only on Azure Repos and Azure Pipeline. Three important features for CI/CD are Azure Repos, Build Pipeline, and Release Pipeline. And if you see the Azure DevOps CI/CD process, this is the way it works. A developer make the changes into the project code. The code is inside Azure Repo, which is a source control, and that we create a Azure Build Pipeline, which packages the code or test it, compile it, and then the final artifact is prepared. The final artifact is deployed to the cloud, or maybe it can be an on-premise server also. By the way, Azure DevOps not only deploy the code to Azure, it can deploy to any other cloud, AWS, Google, or it can deploy on the on-premise server also. Azure DevOps Repo, what we are going to learn: how to create a repository, how to add a file, how to check out a file, how to commit a file. In Azure Pipeline, what we are going to learn: how to create a build pipeline, how to create a release pipeline. There are some terms, important terms of when you talk about Azure pipelines. I will not explain here what were the terms come during the creation of the pipeline. I will explain those. The release pipeline will look like something like, you see, dev, QA, and production. These are different stages. Every stage has one job inside it, and the job include two tasks. In one of the stage QA, there is only one task. So this is the way we will have the release pipeline. So we'll go and have demo. So here we are on the Azure portal now. If you see in the dashboard, you see Azure DevOps organization is there. Sometime, if you might log in the Azure portal, it will not be there. Then you need to go and search there. You need to type Azure DevOps. It will come there. Once the Azure DevOps organization comes, you need to click it here. If you click it, you will get this window. So this is Azure DevOps dashboard. Here, if you click on My Azure DevOps Organization, you will see different organization over here. Okay. By default, it will come one organization. You can create as many organizations as you wish. So I have created one organization. If you see, Nirav ORG 0101. Here I've created inside the organization. You need to create a project where you will create a repository, build pipeline, release pipeline. So how you can create the project? You need to click here, new project inside any organization, right? You can create here a new project. So I have already created one project for demo purpose. Let me click it here. So once you click in the project, once you click on the project, you will see the project dashboard. And as we were discussing in the our slide, we have there are 5 important components of this any Azure DevOps project: board, repository, pipeline, test plan, and artifacts. And as discussed earlier, we will concentrate only on repository. So first, we will click on repository. Repository is what? This is a source control where we keep our codes inside it. So by default, you will get one repository, same as the name of the project. You can create your own project repository here by just clicking here. Just click on new project, a new repository, and then type a name, demo repository 3. Okay, so you don't need to do anything, just keep add, then click on create. It will create one repository. Okay, so this is the way we can create repository. You can add a file also in the repository. How you can add the file? You can click here, new item, click on files, then you can give a name to file, and then click on create. This is a new file. Once you create anything, to save it, you need to commit it. So you have to click on the button commit. Here you can write your own comments. By default, it come added file 3. That is okay for me. So I will click on commit. So this is committed. Now this new file is a part of the repository. You can remove it also if you want this. You can delete it. If you delete it, again you will see a new commit here. So why it is? Because you can see all the history, whoever done whatever, because the team will be working on this project. So whatever who has done something, that can be done. There are a lot of other things which can be done, but this is the basic things. You can add the file, you can check out the file, you can edit the file, and you can commit the file. So this much we are able to do now. The same way, I have created a repository here, demo repository. There I have post a project also, which I should be able to deploy, and I can show you the demo. So this is a .NET project kept in a repository that we will deploy to the Azure cloud using CI/CD pipeline. So suppose in your case, if you want to put this project inside that, how we will do it? You just see, I have created this repo. You will not be able to upload those all the complete project. You can only upload the file. So what you need to do, or the correct way of working with these files, which is kept into the repository, is you need to clone it. How you can clone it? You can, if you are using any integrated IDE, you can directly click on select the IDE and click on the clone button. Otherwise, you can take the URL, and here if you generate, you will have user ID password also that you can use and clone it. Like I have cloned it. Just click in here. This is the demo repository. This is how I have cloned it. I just click there. I came here in my demo repository, and I just click clone, and I'm using Visual Studio Code. It is integrated. So I just clicked here and it worked. I'm able to clone. So now what I can do, I can make the changes here. I can push the code there, changes there, and it will work. But now we are not bothered about that. We will we are trying to set up a complete CI/CD pipeline. So we will not spend much time on this repository. So this is the basic thing about repository. You can create a new repository here. You can add the file. You can even you can import repository from other places, and you can also upload a file or project using your ID. So this much we have to do in repository. There are many other things we will see in the next what to learn next session. or next slide. But this much is good enough for us to work and go ahead. So now we will go for pipeline. Here, if you click, this will give you the dashboard to create build pipeline. Although build word is not there, you can see the notice and diagram. This is the pipeline. This provide you to create a new pipeline, a new build pipeline. How you can do it? You can click on new pipeline and don't select any to do new. Need to click new pipeline and then use classic editor. What is different? If you're creating BioML pipeline, you need to learn BioML language, and classic editor will provide you graphical user interface, right? The same way, then you need to select the repository like Azure repo, because our code in Azure repository, so I will select Azure repository. If the code we had put into GitHub, then I would have selected GitHub, or the same way for Bitbucket Cloud or any other source control we can integrate here. And so I've selected Azure Repo Git, and there are so many projects. So I have selected this DevOps demo project. Right? There we have our source, and the repository is demo repository. So this way, once you select it, you will be able to click on continue. So currently we'll take empty job. And then this pipeline is got created, right? I'll just save it. So what next we can do here is give any name, test pipeline, save it. So the same way I have created, and then later what you need to do, you can add the task based on that. The same way I have created a pipeline, and let me just do it. I've created a pipeline for you. This is demo build pipeline. Okay. Here, this is what, how, just let us see. So I've created a pipeline and I've added a different task here. Like, because my code is .NET code, so I've added .NET code related task. You can get it from here. Like you see, you have here this .NET code, right here. So this is what I've selected what I want to do, restore or this, and then I have added it over it. So you need to do like this only. So you need to create a pipeline. You need to select the source code and whatever the repository, wherever you have placed your code, that you need to select. That's it. And then you need to come into job section, add the task, whatever the task is there. So I have added the task. What important thing I did here, when you try to add, it will ask for some information. So path to project I have given here. This means when you write something like this, it means wherever in your code this .cs project is located, it will take from there and compile it and build it. That's it. Nothing else need to do. The same thing for build. I have given the project path. This way, when you write, again, I'm telling, when you write a // so it will search and complete project, this file, and then take it and build it. This is the argument I've given, where we will have our build configuration, and then finally you take the code from the pipeline and put into a folder. There our final artifact will be established. So when you're creating a build a pipeline, what you're basically what steps you're following. First, you need to take the classic editor or classic pipeline. There you need to add the this pipeline empty. Don't take any task in the beginning. Then add some task which is required. In this case, this is .NET application code. You might have different code to deploy, so you need to take those tasks accordingly. So we have what we did. We restored the code, build it, publish it, and then finally artifact we have put into a folder. This much only we need to do. If you once you do this, then you run this pipeline. If you want to see more detail about this, you can click on this pipeline. It will show all the steps it is going through, all the tasks it is running. And then If there is any issue, any error, it will flag the error. It will not create the artifacts. If all the task successfully gets executed, then only you will get the final artifacts. Okay, so you see, check out first what it did. It checked out the repository. Now .NET Restore task is getting executed. Once it is done, the .NET build task will get executed. Later .NET publish, and then finally it will publish the artifacts into a drop folder, which drop name we have given. So let us wait for 1 minute. And once it is done, we'll go and see the release pipeline. How to, yeah, almost done. There is no error. So what happened if you go there and see on here, you see after what final things get created, this, if you come here and click in this one publish folder, inside the drop folder, this zip file got created. This is the artifact finally we got after compiling the code and after building the code. So we have now this. Once this is build part is over, then we need to go to release part. How we can create a release pipeline? And you come here, you click on the new release pipeline. The same way, you first click on empty job, then nothing you need to do, just click cross here, then you have got what you need to do here. You need to add the artifacts, whatever they got created through the build pipeline. So we are getting from build pipeline. So I've selected this. You can directly get from Azure repo also or GitHub also. But in my case, I have already created a build pipeline, which is creating a artifact. So I will take the artifact from there. You see, add an artifact. From where we will take from the build pipeline, this pipeline, right? Demo build pipeline. So from there I have taken, and this is the name, any name you can give. And finally we will add it. So that name come here, and this will get the artifact from there. Next thing what we need to do, we need to click here, stage 1. So this is the first stage for deployment. There can be different stages, stage 2 or stage 3. In normally in the development environment, what we give when we do a deployment on the enterprise level or in the real world, what we do, we give name of this, like this name we can give into the stage 1 is dev, then a stage 2 is QA, or a stage 3 is a production kind of thing. So you can give that. For now I will just give it. Once that is done, you click here. Again, we have a job like build job we had. Here we have deployment job. You can change the name here, and you can add the task inside that. Like there is one deployment task. So we can use the deploy Azure state or deploy ASP.NET task, Azure App Service deploy for that purpose. I have already done that. So let me show you. So this is the pipeline I have created for deployment. How we will do that. So let me show you what I did. I did the same way. I have added an artifact from here, and I have not changed the stage to dev. I just keep only one task I have added here, Azure App Service deploy. So once you add the task, you need to fill the information like what is the name, Azure subscription name, then you will get the wherever you want to deploy. This is the one app service in my Azure app, Azure portal. There we will deploy this code. So let us see if it works. And so before I execute, you see, we have done 3. Logically, how it should work, when you change any code or when you do any commit into the repository, the build should automatically trigger build pipeline, and release pipeline should also automatically trigger. And how you can do automatic triggers, or that is continuous deployment. By default, it will be disable continuous deployment trigger. Where I did it, you need to click on this continuous deployment trigger, you make it enable. So what it will happen, if release build pipeline get executed, then release pipeline automatically will get executed. Okay, the same way you need to go to build pipeline. Let me show you here also. The same thing you have to configure, but in build pipeline you configure this continuous integration differently. You need to go to trigger, and then here you need to check enable continuous integration. Now our pipeline is uh, perfect, and hopefully so. And once we make any change into our repository, the build pipeline and release pipeline should work. Let me just go and check it whether it works or not. So let me remove all the this thing, and I will put all three together. You can do like this. You can click on duplicate. So first we have repository. Second, we will have pipeline. Yes, this is the pipeline. And then the third, we will have release pipeline. Okay, so you see, this is the release pipeline, stage one, demo release pipeline. Then you have demo build pipeline, and then you have demo repository. So, and where it is deploying the code, let me show you. Here is our Azure portal, and you see it will deploy the code into super simple demo apps. Okay, let me confirm it whether it will deploying this on this app service or not. That how you can confirm it. You can go to release pipeline, you can click edit, and go to click job here, and you see what is the name of this super simple demo app. This is the app service name, and we have our super simple demo app here. So I will keep up in the last. Perfect. So now if I make any change into the repository, that change should reflect onto the app service build and release pipeline should work properly. Currently, what is this? Let me show you. So currently, this is what is the page. That is the code in repository. We have one page website, and we have deployed through the pipeline. Cloud Skill with Nirav is super simple way to learn DevOps. Congratulations, you have deployed web app using CI/CD. Correct. So now I will go and make some changes here. Where is that page, index page, which we have to make? It will be inside the page, and here is the index page. You have deployed web app using CI/CD. Again, we will add one more line. So here I will, you cannot directly make the change. You need to check out how to check out. You need to click on edit, and then, and this is only for, by the way, demo purpose. I will read awesome. New code is deployed. New code is deployed using CI/CD. So this change I have made, I will just commit the code here in the repository. New code added, and I will commit this. So this is coming. Now, because I had configured in my build pipeline to automatically get triggered. So because I have checked in the code here, so the build pipeline should run. Let me check whether it is running or not. You see, this is running. Build pipeline is started running. If you see, it takes 52 seconds to complete the build pipeline. If the code, we will see now if the release pipeline is running or not. Where is that? So you see, release pipeline is also getting triggered, and it is also running. So once the release pipeline should completed, we should be able to see the changes on our website. Although it takes a little more time to synchronize and get updated. So let it first release pipeline execution should completed, then we will go on the site and check. So this release pipeline execution is also completed. Now we will go on the web or app services and we will see whether the change has been executed, updated or not. So I will just click here. You see, this is the old page that we had. Now I may edit one more line. So let me see whether those changes had come here or not. Awesome. New code is deployed using CI/CD. So you see, this is how simple we are able to create a CI/CD pipeline, knowing very few things. Right? So this is what you have to do. Once you are able to do, you can of course improve from there, but this is the basic things. And this is not only in Azure DevOps, even most of the deployment tool, these are the basic steps. You have to create build pipeline and you have to create the release pipeline. If you have any doubt on that, you can write comments and I will be able to apply on that. So let me go and come back to my PPT. So this demo is completed, and what we have learned, we have created a project into Azure DevOps. We have set up a Git repository. We have configured a build pipeline. We have configured a release pipeline, added some tasks to the pipeline, and executed the deployment pipeline. And we have seen successfully we are able to deploy the changes into the Azure App Service. So what is next? In repository, what we did, that is not the correct way to do it in real development environment. That is only we did for development purpose. You need to create a feature branch where main branch or master branch earlier used to do. We used to call master branch earlier. Now it is called main branch. So that main branch is there. You can create development branch. You can create a feature branch, and you need to make changes into your own feature branch, then push the code and remove the feature branch. So code will be into master branch. One more important thing you need to learn is how to create pull request and how to approve it. Because when you make any changes into feature branch, you have to raise a pull request. Someone has to approve it. Then only it should go to development branch or QA branch or master branch. So these two things, at least you need to learn for real development environment related to Azure repo. Azure pipeline, what we need to learn, you need to learn how to create a variables and variable groups and how to implement into the pipeline, because many secrets information, it is not kept into the directly into pipeline. You have to access from the variable groups or variable, or maybe from the secret can be kept into Azure keyboard. From there you can access it. That is also happening through variable groups. So you need to learn this. Then approval process, because as I told, we have deployed the code only in one stage in development environment. There will be many other environment, and only after approval it will go to different environment. So that how to provide approval, that you need to learn. And one important thing you need to learn, how to create BioML pipeline. What we have learned, that is using Azure Classic editor, where you have a kind of UI, graphical user interface. You need to learn BioML code. It is like JSON kind of code to create a pipeline. So you should prepare for AZ 400. And what we are doing, we are deploying the code to the Azure App Services or some other places. But then when you work as a DevOps engineer, sometimes you also need to deploy Azure services like storage, like app services, you need to deploy through code. So for that purpose, Terraform is used, although you can also use BioML code for that purpose, JSON ARM templates, but then Terraform you should learn, which is mostly used for infrastructure deployment. And nowadays, people are more developing microservices and creating Docker images and all, or deploying to Kubernetes. So if you learn Docker plus Kubernetes also, that would be great for your career. So how our path will look like for learning DevOps? First, we have learned classic pipeline. Then you should learn some advanced feature like variables, feature branching, and approvals, BioML pipeline. Then need to go for YAML pipeline as we discussed, then Terraform, and finally Docker and Kubernetes. If you learn this much, I think that is good enough for moving to this DevOps side. Thank you and happy learning.